Bitcoin taking a turn from the worst. Will my prediction of the $7,000 Bitcoin prove to be an inevitability? And what, more importantly, can we expect from the world of cryptocurrency as we move forward, point by point? You've come to the right place if you're interested in discussing and looking at all the different cryptocurrency news. We've got a pretty big bloodbath on our hands. Many people are now currently running for the hills, eating their words. It's interesting to look at, this flash crash sort of scenario as we see a lot of different things happening in the cryptocurrency world. And more importantly, I think that, I love to do these live streams at different times like these. Just more importantly, I think it's important to give people a sense of hope rather than a sense of doom and gloom. But I'm glad that I'm the one who's here to actually give you guys that feedback, because there's so many people. Crypto Truth says that he just bought. That's hell, if you think that this is the bottom, there are people who buy the dips. There are people who could see. I'm personally, all I can really do on here is tell you guys what I'm doing, and I'm waiting on the edge of my seat. Hey, if you, there's really, I can never really say fault somebody who's buying BTC. I'm not going to sit here and give you flack for buying Bitcoin at whatever price, just because, like you, you've come to a good cryptocurrency echo chamber. 7K is unlikely, 9K is possible. Who views my prediction as unlikely, apparently. Chris San Andreas, good name. We'll see who is the better man at the end of the day. But as long as you're a holder, I don't see anything to worry about. But still, definitely interesting. And one of the things that I find interesting, more important, above all, this, whenever we see the narrative shift so quickly, it's always an important time to just look at what the news is saying, and just see how quickly their narrative is able to shift, and how quickly. But I also want to play this just in the beginning of the video, just to give you guys an idea of I think that this video should be played on a loop. So we're going to talk about a lot of the different things that this guy talks about. So without any further ado, let's watch.
Commissioner, Mr. President, I rise again, I'm afraid, to make the same old hoary speech that I've been making here for several years, and that is, it is my opinion that you do not really understand the concept of banking. All the banks are broke. Bank Santander, Deutsche Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland, they're all broke. And why are they broke? It isn't an act of God. It isn't some sort of tsunami. They're broke because we have a system called fractional reserve banking, which means that banks can lend money that they don't actually have. It's a criminal scandal, and it's been going on for too long. To add to that problem, you have moral hazard, a very significant moral hazard from the political sphere. And most of the problem starts in politics and central banks, which are part of the same political system. We have counterfeiting, sometimes called quantitative easing, but counterfeiting by any other name. The artificial printing of money, which if any ordinary person did, they'd go to prison for a very long time. And yet governments and central banks do it all the time. Central banks repress the amount of interest that rates are, so we don't have the real cost of money. And yet we blame the real retail banks for manipulating LIBOR. The sheer effrontery of this is quite astonishing. It's central banks that manipulate interest rates, Commissioner. And plus, underneath all this, we talk loosely, in a rather cavalier fashion, do we not, about deposit guarantees. So when banks go broke through their own incompetence and chicanery, the taxpayer picks up the tab. It's theft from the taxpayer.
Yes, it would be a shame if that went viral. But I think that I mean, he does bring up a lot of important points, which are more relevant now than ever, I would say. Now, especially with what we're seeing happening. I agree. Jay Bailey, who says it would be nice if it dropped more, but it's not going to happen. Well, that's what you think. Jesus 7K, less than 3 months from the halving. Better luck getting Tesla stock for under 10K. Well, I mean, that's your opinion. I mean, I'm saying 7K is my prediction. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stand by it. And in this video, we're going to be talking about why this is not only possible, but it's. I mean, I would say there's a likelihood, and that we'll see Bitcoin's price continue to drop, and continue to, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna give you. Let's. I want to watch a couple videos with you guys as well, just so that we can go into detail on a lot of these different things. I like this one, this guy riding the horse. That's pretty funny, or a pony rather. So now currently at 9,576. So Bitcoin slides back below 10K amid quick bearish sell-off. I mean, I'm playing the odds. Certainly, I'm not going to sit here and give you guys I'm not going to give you any guarantees. I'm not going to, I mean, like I always say, I mean, standard disclaimer, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Of course, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your dad, like I always famously say. What up, Crypto Don Juan? Nice to see you in the chat. Also, what do you guys think about if I did a 24/7 live stream of the Bitcoin price, and we can get a good chat room going, or we can all sort of discuss trading and all in the action that we see inside the chart. If enough people would be interested in coming back to the stream, I think that would actually be a pretty cool thing for this channel, and of course I could tune in from time to time and give you guys my analysis. But anyways, let's check out this article. So at around 21:30 on February 19th, the price of Bitcoin fell more than 4.5% from 10,089 to 9,610, according to CoinDex BPI data, despite the technical signs appearing to favor the bulls. On exchanges like Bitstamp and Coinbase, price dropped as low as 9,280 before quickly being snatched up by opportunistic buyers. That's one of the, I mean, I think that we should talk about people who get caught up and, they think that Bitcoin's price is just going to keep following the trend. They don't realize how manipulated the space actually is. And this is one thing that I'm going to be talking about more in videos, but I really would like to stress, Warren Buffett. I mean, I always don't bring up Warren Buffett because, I don't really trust any billionaire or, wealthy person's opinion on Bitcoin for that matter. I don't trust them further than I could throw them. But still, Warren Buffett did say one very interesting thing about Bitcoin, which was that Bitcoin is a storage of fear. And right now, what we're seeing happening, with the sort of Corona outbreak and all these different things, we do have to talk about one thing in particular, and that's news coverage on these things. Live stream right before the halving and after. I mean, that's an option too. Did you hear about the U.S. auction for the BTC? Did you think that caused some of the pullback? Personally, I don't think so, because we see that sort of thing in the news quite often. And I wouldn't go so far as to say that it has a direct influence. I would say that the sort of money that moves around in the market is more insignificant than anything. It probably would be minuscule. Because you think about it, how much influence does the U.S. market actually have on BTC? Which is measurable. It's nothing to be sneezed at. But at the same time, I mean, we have to take into consideration the amount of actual wallets that hold and trade BTC, which is something that really needs to be talked about. But so this afternoon, investors bore witness to an insane Bitcoin flash crash that sent the cryptocurrency reeling from lower 10,000 region to lows of 9,200, which is where it was able to find some support that helped it climb higher. Despite the jarring nature of this drop, it is important to note that it may not be as bearish as it seems, with its intense bounce from we have to realize, I mean, we've seen more crazy bounces than these as well. I mean, I think that right now, it's important to remain level-headed, though, and realize that anything could happen. I mean, we can't really go so far as to say that we'll go one way or the other. It's really in the next 24 to 48 hours, really the next 3 days, we're going to be seeing a lot of these different aspects reveal themselves. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people want the answers right away. But I mean, I think that it is interesting nonetheless. And I think that it is going to be the global market that is actually the one to benefit. So, I mean, just let's check out, I mean, this is sort of an older one, but I mean, just let's look at like the way that they talk about Bitcoin when it goes up versus the way that they talk about it when it goes down. I'm not going to play this full clip, but I want to play a few seconds of it regardless.
How's that for a graphic? Bitcoin's boom time continues back above 10,000. Get this. If you're not paying attention, you probably should be. Bitcoin is now up 44% this year. So, Tim, we went from like 0 to 20,000, back to 4,000, now back to 10,000. Is anything different this time around?
I think what's different is, first of all, you've shaken out a lot of weak players. You've shaken out a lot of the momentum. You've certainly gone further down the road in terms of institutional follow through. You've certainly had major banks in the world talk about their own blockchain platforms. You've had a dynamic.
You get a sentiment that, a more bullish sentiment. But ultimately, I mean, hell, 4K would be nice. I mean, I still think that I still think you're crazy if you're buying Bitcoin at these prices. I'm gonna be the person, me of all people, with my clickbait titles where I'm always talking about bull run this and bull run that. I'm gonna be the one who remains level-headed through the halving hype, because one thing is for certain. The fact of the matter is, going back to another Warren Buffett quote, as seldom as I do, I'll say this, that we have to stay greedy while other people are fearful, and fearful while other people are greedy. And the sentiment that I see, I mean, when I saw a Forbes list headline, I believe it was, there was some lamestream media sort of headline that was trying to tell us that an 11,000 Bitcoin was right around the corner, and I just thought that was completely foolish. One, for them to put out such a headline, willingly, no, but it also sent, it gave me a sense of what we can really expect to see, which is they want you to be bullish right now. That's, they want you to think that it's a sure thing. The establishment, is really advocating for people to think that Bitcoin's going to have this, amazing bull run that's going to, impress everybody. And whenever I hear that sort of news, I get really, really skeptical about what we can expect to see for the future of crypto. And you guys too. I mean, if you are, if you're interested in my opinions, any of this content that I put out on here, I would say heed my warning. Like I said, I can't tell you what to do, but I mean, I know I've seen these bull frenzies play out time and time again, and I think that it's really important to come on here and just be the voice of reason while people are, in these sort. So anyway, Swiss savers view cryptocurrencies as option. Now that bank accounts don't save them from inflation, cryptocurrencies are gradually becoming a viable alternative for savers in Switzerland, according to a new poll. The Alpine nation's crypto-friendly business climate and increasing regulatory clarity makes them a relatively easy addition to investors' portfolios. So that's a bullish sentiment if I've ever seen one, though. I mean, I definitely think that crypto adoption is right around the corner. I'm not at any rate, I'm not going to knock Bitcoin. I'm still avid cryptocurrency advocate, and I think that the technology has a lot of potential for what it's capable of doing. But really, the things that we need to look at is the looming potential for obsolescence of the technology. And what I always like to talk about are potential, technologies. And I talk about Cardano as one, that project in particular, not to just keep talking. I know you guys come on these live streams for me to talk shop, talk what's happening live in the markets right now. So I really just want to talk about decentralization, however. All right, so this person, Jay Bailey, says, I love your videos, but it's on its way up. The halving is huge when it comes to stock and flow. We've been in a bear market for 2+ years. It's going up, according to this commenter. Well, thank you for your sentiment. And I mean, I'm not going to completely disagree with you, as far as the halving goes, but 2 months is a long way away. Now, the fact of the matter is, I think that they're going to try to shake off a lot of the dead weight, a lot of the weak hands. And I think that 7,000 is an interesting level to look at something like that. Then, of course, when we want to talk about what we're seeing happening right now in the market, the potential to really shake those people off, I would say is looming around the corner. For hodlers, there's really nothing to worry about. But there are plenty of people out there who try to see crypto as a get rich quick sort of scheme. And those are the people who should be worried. If you're not entirely confident with your position, it will be interesting. But anyway, I want to watch this, so we're going to watch it.
Because you recently made headlines for saying that Bitcoin will reach 40,000 before the Dow. You stand behind that forecast, and what makes you so bullish?
Yes, and so that's absolutely our belief. Bitcoin's a network value asset, so the more people who hold it and find it useful, the greater its price gain. It's really a log function. Today, about 500,000 people use Bitcoin. So for it to quadruple, you just need to double the number of users.
So, I mean, as far as media sentiment goes, it's night and day to see how these things, have been moving and shaping themselves, in terms of the media narrative, in terms of a very large aspect of the different variables that we see unfolding in the space right now, in terms of how the establishment refers to Bitcoin itself. It's definitely interesting to watch. And, of course, Chris San Andreas again comments saying, buy the dip while you can. BTC will rally to $11,000, according to Chris. They just took some profits, shaking and wrecking hands before they pump it. I hope you're right. Holders of BTC will be happy to see something like that. Quick bearish sell-off. We are seeing some action in the space, which is good. It shows that some big players are paying very close attention to Bitcoin at the current moment, and that's also something to be paid attention to. So Bitcoin has dipped back below the psychological area of support near the 10,000 level amid a 20-minute bearish sell-off that took the markets by surprise at around 2130. So we already did sort of talk about that. Will be very interesting just to see how the space continues to play out. What we actually witness happening. In terms of where we can see Bitcoin going from here on out. Of course, this is an interesting indicator, on the buy oscillators. Another thing I always like to shout out is a global debt chart. This is also something. The world debt. This is really the biggest Bitcoin advertisement that I could possibly give. It only goes in one direction, if you didn't notice. Definitely interesting. I mean, it's almost comical. Plus, don't hate the haters. Love your content and insight of all your videos. Thank you, Jay Bailey. Yeah, I mean, I think I listen to everybody. I mean, any opinion that somebody wants to give is completely welcome and valid. I would hope for people to tell me their honest opinion. I'd never criticize somebody who's putting themselves out there and telling us what they think. That'd be completely horseradish to give that sort of reaction, especially when I'm here for the people and by the people. So crypto hedge funds. Let's listen to this article for a second here.
Crypto hedge funds had the most profitable January on record this year.
The Eureka Hedge Index of crypto hedge funds is up 18.62% in January, the highest on record. Crypto hedge funds have seen record January gains according to the Eureka Hedge Index of crypto hedge funds, which is an equally weighted index of 25 constituent crypto hedge funds that has been tracking the crypto market since 2013. This January the index is up 18.62%, far surpassing the previous record of 10.86% in 2014. Another interesting comparison is that in 2017, the same year that Bitcoin rallied to its all-time high of $20,000, the index was only up 4.85%. Therefore 2020 is off to a far more profitable start than 2017, which further increases speculation that a major crypto bull run may be developing. It is also notable that the index is up 9,671% since it launched in July 2013, which is much stronger gains than any classical hedge fund. That being said, Bitcoin is up 14,300% since July 2013, which suggests that more money could be made by simply holding Bitcoin rather than investing in a crypto hedge fund. Indeed, Bitcoin is by far more the most profitable asset class of the past decade. BitcoinNews.com is committed to unbiased news and upholding journalistic codes of ethics. For more information, please read our editorial policy here.
So, it is interesting. Sorry, probably an echo there. It is interesting to see the sentiment, and of course how it's always very interesting to look at how investors view Bitcoin, and especially how, we've been seeing a very marked shift in the way that it's viewed as an investment. And it's certainly something to pay very close attention to. When we want to talk about what we're seeing happening in the charts right now. And, especially where we can expect to, see where Bitcoin's going to go in the near future. Now, do you guys have any cryptos in particular that you would like to talk about? I want to talk about this right here. Fresh money enters cryptocurrency market as 10 million USDC is minted. So the second largest stablecoin is expanding its circulating supply further as it injects another 10 million USDC into the cryptocurrency. The 10 million boost might bring the market relief and other bleeding most of the gains. So I mean, this is also something that we need to take a close look at, in terms of what we're currently seeing. I mean, 10 million is nothing to sneeze at. It is something, very important, and that much wealth sort of, moving around. Cruise bit, sure. So Cruise. I mean, it is interesting to see CruiseBit at 12.6% in the green. You know, yes, LTC, very interesting, promising, very promising. I would have personally think, seeing Litecoin as the silver to Bitcoin's gold, is accurate. And it will be interesting to see what happens with Litecoin, in the near future. Tezos is also interesting. When we look at what they offer, in the same sort of line of reasoning, talking about CruiseBit, and these other things. It will be interesting to see. Is ultra low market cap for sure, but I've been seeing it come up. Yeah, I mean, I have some bags. I'm interested in seeing what comes of it. I'm more or less, I view it as a gamble still though, and I sort of do see it as an investment in the team. But I mean, let's be honest here. The real thing to think about at the end of the day is the stinking pits that are fiat. How deep does the swamp really go? And that's something that we really can't overlook. It's something that we can't build. I think that's really the silver to Bitcoin's gold. That's the glimmer in the eye of every cryptocurrency advocate right there. I bought the dip in Digibyte earlier. All my other alts, ADA, Link. Yeah, Digibyte, very interesting. Just the fact that they've been around so long, the fact that they have, so spread across the world. The speed, all these different, the blockchain, the future of passwords is of course very bullish. I would say, it will be interesting to see how something like Digibyte moves along. Yeah, that's gonna be it for now. I just wanted to come on here and give you guys my overall sentiment. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.